Hello people, welcome back. So here we are for another setup as always. So you know the drill by now. Hit the like, subscribe if you're new here, and also leave a comment. Try the setup out if you haven't done it already. Obviously we're gonna go into it very soon. And check out the other setups as well in the playlist. It's somewhere in the description, or if I remember to put it in the top right, you will see it. And yeah, let's get into the setup in Brazil. So Brazil, what do you want to have in Brazil? There's a pretty long straight coming out of the Juncao or Juncao, or don't quote me on my Portuguese. I don't know Portuguese at all. No idea how the second last corner is pronounced. But it's called a junction, right? So that's the last real corner. That's the end of sector 2, and after that is pretty much a long straight, and just a kings in between. So you want some good amount of straight line speed in that section to be able to overtake, but more importantly you also want a lot more downforce for the rest of the track. So sector 1 is pretty much the long straight separated by the center SS and the second straight, and then sector 2 is all the twisty section. That's why you're gonna need all the downforce in the world for your race, and also qualifying. You're gonna be gaining a lot more time through a high downforce setup in qualifying for sure, and in the race it's gonna look after your tires so much more for a long stint. Also just overall better pace as well. ERS regen, it's gonna be a bit of an issue if you spam too much battery, but again Brazil, it's quite notorious for DRS trains around here. So if you are in a DRS train, or you're just following someone in the DRS, just saving your tires, you're gonna be good on ERS either way. So we start off with the aerodynamics. 11.8 on the wings, pretty high, I know, but this is what you need in Brazil to be fast in qualifying and in the race as well over a long run. All right, my old setup when the game was still pretty new, about 6 months ago, I ran a 9.6 setup, which was, well, to be fair, quite a bullet on the straights. But when I had intermediate condition mixed into the race, I found out that having low aero is pretty much a nightmare in the race. So high aero is the way to go in the dry, in the wets. Either way you want to go for this. You can consider 10.7, it can work, but again, if it's gonna be changeable conditions, or you're probably gonna do a one stop medium to soft or soft to mediums, you want to prioritize the tire wear and your long run pace. 11 in is the way to go, unless you're predicting some safety car shenanigans and whatnot, or you just going for fun runs. 10.7 might be okay then, but always stick to 11.9. That's the way to go. Transmission, I tried 100, but in time trial the grip is a bit wonky, so it's a little slidey. 90 works just nice because there are a lot of high speed sections where you need to put the power out of the corner. Turn 2, I think the right hander before the second straight, right? Turn 2, is it? Yeah, turn 2. So turn 2, you want to make sure turn 2 and 3 get the traction right. So running it on 90, I found it to be better for me, at least. I'm able to put down more power and more consistently without spinning up the rears. Otherwise, if I put it up to 100 in turn 1, when I try to mount the curb and go on power, it just slides my rear out of control. So 90 just nice. Also for the race, 90 is going to be just nice. As the race wear goes on, tire wear coming in, kicking in, you can reduce your on throttle a little bit, maybe to 85 from your MFD to, or maybe even 80. The lower you go, the less stress you're putting through your tires under acceleration. That will give you less forward momentum coming out of the corners. But as your tires are wearing down, you don't really need that. So 90 is just good for the race. 55 off throttle, again, quite standard for most tracks. You will need a lot of rotation around here, so that's why I'm going as low as 55. Sector 1 itself, the chicane before the center, not the chicane, the center S's themselves, right? They're pretty twisty in nature, and then the entire sector 2 is all about left right, it's all twisty and quite slow in nature. So having a low off throttle will allow the rear of the car to change direction pretty quickly. So if you feel you want a bit more rotation in that sense, yeah, sure, go for 54. It may work out for you. It may become oversteery for you. If you need more stability, if you feel like in the high speed it is just a bit of a beast to handle, go up one click on 56. You'll be just fine. You'll find the setup to be pretty stable. You'll be able to put on power faster as well. Suspension geometry for the first time. Here we go. I've learned this trick from a few friends around, few servers around here. Left, 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 left. There you go. And it's surprisingly something that really works in selected tracks. So like Brazil, Portimao, Imola to some extent. But it really works. Now, why am I not running front camber all the way to the right? It's okay. It is pretty good as well. I found it to be okay, but the problem here is this slow sweeping corners, slow and fast sweeping corners, right? They require to have a lot of mid corner grip. Usually you will not be running higher front camber as high as this, because it just makes your life difficult under braking. Say somewhere like in Monza in turn 1, you'll definitely notice it is a bit more sluggish under braking because we have less grip under braking, and acceleration you don't really feel it that much because that's the front anyway. But in track like Brazil, there's not really a heavy braking zone per se where you really have to slow down the car to maybe first or second gear kind of speed. The slowest it's probably third or fourth gear, pretty much. Third gear for turn 1, and then immediately shifting up to 4, 5 and 6. Rest of the track as well, you're running in 4, gear 5, those kind of things. So front camber really helps you to flick the car in, and the car really grips up mid corner, and it's free lap time there. So I tried it 2-3 tenths easily. I gained just by doing that, and it's especially helpful in the middle sector where the twisty bits are and the center S's. All right. The only downside of running front camber pretty high like this, you may encounter slightly higher tire wear, but in this game it's pretty negligible. You don't really notice, probably 1 or 2% more. You may not even notice it, but the time that you make up as a result, it pays off to have that slight risk, but you will not notice it. So full left everything, that's the way to go. Suspension, again, quite usual. The baseline I like to start with is always 1-1 on the suspension, and then 1-6 on the roll bar, and then 2-7 on the right height. But here, as you can see, suspension, yeah, same 1-1. This rear suspension is at 1 to give you the best traction out of corners, and having softer suspensions overall front and back, it does not stress the tires, so it's kind of on the tires. Reduces the tire wear, reduces tire temps as well, because you're not pushing the tires as much into the ground, or not asking too much from the tires, so benefits you in the long run. A front anti-roll bar, again, the fronts are always at 1, the lowest, so that you get best turn-in possible, initial turn-in into a corner. So, and then I like it that way. So I like my cars to be pointy initially, and then mid corner I can just control it with my hands and my throttle and brakes and whatnot. So that's how I prefer it. If you feel like maybe the car is just a little edgy on corner entry, either you can always say this is my setup currently, right? 1.8. You can definitely drop the rear anti-roll bar. This will help you to stabilize the car and induce a bit of understeer into the car, so the rear does not turn in too much. Or conversely, if you feel your rear is just nice, the rear of the car is just nice like that, you want the front to be a bit more stable, do not turn in too much, or mid corner need a bit more stability, 1 click of anti-roll bar on the front will do wonders. So that will help the front to be stable while cornering. and well, that you might just feel the difference. It might just give you the confidence that you need to push harder. All right, otherwise stick with 1.8, maybe 1.6 if you want to start off with experimenting your setup. Go ahead with it. Right height, again, this is coming down to fine tuning the setup and also how the car really behaves on the curbs around here. So it seems like the curbs here are pretty friendly on the car. You can mount them, you can accelerate on them, you can even brake on them, so which is pretty nice. So that means you can run slightly lower ride height if you want to. So I am running 6 on the rear, which is just nice. I tried 5. Not really happy with it because there are some curves where, you know, when you accelerate on them you have to still be careful, but going too low on the rear ride height is just gonna be a nightmare. So I'm choosing to run at 6. Front ride height, again, when it's at 1 minimum front ride height, the front of the car is sitting, the front nose of the car is sitting lower to the track, which means it's giving you better turn in. Okay, so if you one less turn in, you know, say if your car is too pointy with this setup, there's a few things you can do. You can either drop the front wing by 1 or increase the rear wing by 1. You can drop the anti-roll bar, or you can increase the front ride height. And changing the front ride height usually has more noticeable effect than the rear. So if you feel like your car is say the front is too pointy, you want to make it less pointy, increase the front ride height by 1 click, one at a time. So 2.6 might be good. And then on the rear, if you want more rotation on the rear, say maybe through slower speed corners, which there aren't many around here, to be fair, it's all pretty long sweepy medium speed corners, a few short corners ish, and also quick change of direction, you can raise your ride height to give you a bit more change of direction capability. But 1.6 2.7, they pretty much do the same but you know, in terms of straight line speed they are the same, but the front right head on 1 just gives you a better turn in and a better high speed turn in as well. So the car is just so much pointier when you first flick the car into a corner. All right, in terms of straight line speed, when you increase your front right height, it gives you a bit of straight line speed, you gain time, and then reducing the rear right height increases your straight line speed as well. When you reduce your front right height and or increase your rear right height, it reduces your straight line speed. Again, in this game it's so unnoticeable. Between 6 and 7, it's just the handling becomes much better with lower right height. So you can try this and see how it works. Brakes 150, always, no question about this. There's not really any part of the track where I'd say to you need to run 51% brake bias, because again, there's a lot of corners where you need to trail brake pretty hard, pretty accurately as well. So having the bias towards the rear just helps to get the car rotated into the corner, unless if you are, you know, in the race, halfway through your stint, you're starting on 11.8 wings, and then you feel like the car is starting to get a little too pointy, then definitely increase your brake bias by 1 or 2%. This will help the car to maintain a bit more balance in the car, so push the braking force a bit forward so your rears do not over rotate, and you know, it helps you throughout the stint as the car gets pointier with lighter fuel. All right, and then once you go into the pits, drop the front wing by 1, and you know, there you go, you can continue the race. Tire pressures, again, race maximum to give you best tire life, and also to make sure that you get best stability throughout the lap, throughout the race, any condition. All right, maximum pressures, higher pressures generally make the car more stable and also reduces tire wear. It comes at a cost of increased tire temperatures, which is not an issue around here, not like Kota in the previous week, where, you know, even you know, a click or two lower in the rears are still overheating, the fronts are still overheating. But here, back to Brazil, rears maximum, no questions, no issues at all. If you are trying it out from career mode, you definitely can get away with 2 clicks slower, 3 clicks slower, because as you advance in career mode, the tires do tend to overheat a lot. But for a league race, go maximum so that it gets you best handling and also best tire life. Front tire pressure, again, same way how it reacts to the race. The higher you go on the pressures, the better tire wear you're gonna get, so your tires are gonna last longer. You also get more stability when you're taking corners. It will make the car slightly pointy as well because it's more responsive with higher pressure in high speed, so which is kind of a good thing if you want that. But again, the higher you go on the pressures, it's going to increase your tire temps as well. If you're smooth with it, you're not going to notice it at all, so it's going to be a benefit for you to be smooth. If you're pretty rough with inputs and whatnot, or maybe your inputs aren't smooth to begin with, probably on a controller or maybe a keyboard, and you can't be smooth enough, even on a wheel, if you can't be smooth enough, you can definitely consider dropping the pressure by 1 or 2 clicks so that you do not overheat the tires. Yeah, and reducing the pressures will give you slightly more tire wear, so you want to be making sure you are looking after your tires as well in the race. The fronts do tend to wear out more than the rears around here, so if your fronts go off too fast, you're gonna lose a lot of pace. Now let's quickly recap the setup and then go over some changes that you can do for qualifying and also a wet race or intermediate race. So setup, 11.8 on the wings, and always the same. And since it's already maximum front wing, you can't really change anything for the qualifying. In the race, if you're starting on the mediums in the first stint and then second stint you're going on to the softs, if you feel on the mediums your tires are, the car is starting to get quite pointy, then yeah, in the pits when you feel on the softs, just drop the wing and you'll be thanking yourself for that. Otherwise, in qualifying or rain, you definitely want higher downforce so that it helps you to extract the pace and be more consistent with your braking and acceleration. You can consider increasing the rear wing to 9 for the wets, just so you get some extra confidence under braking and acceleration. If it's gonna be a mixed condition race, it really depends if it's gonna rain towards the end or later part of the race, or is it gonna rain early in the race. If it's gonna rain early in the race, I'd probably still stick with 11.8. If it's gonna race later towards the race, then I'll probably go 11.9 so that I can be fast at the end as well, or just kind of consistent in the wets. Transmission, you can stick with 90 all the way, and in the wets, this is the one thing that really helps in the intermediates and full wet conditions. You reduce the off throttle by 1% to give you more rotation on the rear, so this is a definite must thing to do. If you don't do this, you will lose a lot of time. You'll find it difficult to even brake properly and get the car turned in. In qualifying, keep it at 55 if you want it to be somewhat stable in the dries. Otherwise, you'll be risk losing your car out of every corner or into every corner. Suspension geometry, park firmware is locked, no question about this. Suspension locked in park firmware as well. If it's gonna be a wet race, just increase the rear wing by 1 and then reduce the anti-roll bar by 1 and raise your ride height to 2.8 and you'll be fine. Just nice for a wet race. If a dry race, you want to use a dry setup. In a mixed condition race, just maybe use the whole same thing and you're good to go. Brakes 150. Tire pressures, again, keep it the same throughout all conditions. If you find in your practice runs that your fronts are overheating, then just drop it by 1 click at a time and you'll be good. Don't go any lower than 23.0, then you're gonna risk a lot of tire wear. Right, so that's been the setup. Pretty long one here. 11.8, 90, 55, left, first time, and 11, 18, 16 on the suspension, 150 on the brakes, and 23.8 front tire pressures, 23.5 rear tire pressures. And there you go. So let me know how this works out for you, and I'll see you maybe next week. It's gonna be for, I don't know, what's the next track on this on the calendar. It's gonna be Australia. Yes, so there are 5 races to go in the championship. maybe 6 if we have a Zenward rerun. So Brazil is coming up in a couple of days. When this goes up, I'll probably be racing and you can watch me live. Australia is the week after, and then Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and finale is going to be in China, and probably Zenward if it's going to be a finale kind of thing. But either way, so yeah, check out the other setups that are available on the channel, and be ready for F122. The day it releases is 1st of July. We will be getting the game on the dot on 1st of July, and we'll see if we can get some setup research done in the first week alone, and see how the car works. So yeah, take care everyone, stay safe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.